you.
Well, happy Halloween.
Plan to celebrate this Halloween. For now, we'll send.
Well, happy Halloween.
And welcome to This Is Now, where we are continuing to track breaking news. The brush fire on a Mililani Mauka ridge is now burning for a second straight day. We are awaiting an update at any moment now from HFD headquarters for the latest on what is happening with this fire. Here's what we can tell you so far. It's now scorched about 300 acres. Containment is at 40%. HFD and Army firefighters continue to respond by air. And what's making this difficult is that this fire is in a remote mountainous area that is inaccessible from the ground. You can see HFD is getting ready for a live update. Let's listen in from Kaka'ako headquarters.
So we have a bit of a zoom. The image that you saw yesterday, this is a little bit different. It's a little bit more zoomed in, just to highlight the location. Again, it's about approximately a mile above Mililani Mauka. It is not threatening any homes or structures. There are no evacuation orders in place. There have been no reported injuries either. It is moving eastward away from the Mililani Mauka area. Again, it's 300 acres as of our last update and 40% contained. So again, approximately a mile from the Mililani Mauka neighborhood. This wildfire it's very favorable conditions in a sense. The fuel is green, it's not dry and brown. The winds are light at 2 to 5 miles per hour, so it's slow moving. And again, it's moving in an easterly direction away from homes. So that's the latest that we have at this time. Again, we're continuing air operations. Does anyone have any questions?
Sorry, I just can't. Could you just hit the highlights of what's going on?
Yeah, just quickly. So as of last night at 6 p.m., 160 acres were involved. As of this morning at 10:30 a.m., we have 300 acres involved. It's 40% contained. The fire is approximately 1 mile from the Mililani Mauka neighborhood. We have favorable conditions of green fuel, light winds. There's no evacuation orders in place, no homes that are threatened, and no injuries reported. And we have 5 aircraft currently doing airdrops.
And how many fire crews are involved? Or how many?
We have 2 air assets, and it's only air operations at this time. It's not accessible. It's steep and dangerous terrain, so it's inaccessible by foot right now. So even DOFA, they have ground crews, but they're just staging.
What's the nearest street?
information. Do you have the
But
nearest
there's
street?
neighborhood.
It's Mililani Mauka.
Oh,
So it's above Mililani Mauka, about
Got it.
approximately 1 mile.
Got it.
Any questions?
Aren't there like farms also up there?
I did get reports of a lychee farm yesterday, and we do focus our efforts on first life safety and then property conservation. So if there is any property that we see that could potentially be impacted, then we'll focus our airdrops in that area. So there is a lychee farm above in the Mililani Mauka area, and it wasn't impacted, and what we did was we focused our airdrops at that time for that farm. So right now there is no threat to life or property. So I wanted to introduce Dr. Ireland from the Honolulu Emergency Services Department.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. I'm James Ireland, the Director of Honolulu Emergency Services Department. And the EMS's role in this and in any fire is medical monitoring and medical response in support of the fire department and anybody who may be impacted by fire or smoke or injuries related to an incident like this. Yesterday, we did have 2 EMS calls for smoke inhalation. One was a 15-year-old girl, a young woman at Mililani High School. Another was a man in his 50s in the Mililani area. And both were taken to the hospital in serious but stable condition. Anytime you have a fire, there is a risk for smoke inhalation. And like we saw even with the VOG, with the volcanoes, people who have underlying respiratory conditions like asthma or COPD emphysema are at higher risk for being affected by smoke. Now, they were quite some distance from the fire, but the winds had carried the smoke in a way that they were affected. And as the captain said, we did not have any injuries related to the fire. You may or may not know this, but Maui, when they had their fire, did have a number of injuries secondary to traffic accidents and other incidents of people trying to get out of the area. But fortunately, we didn't see any of that yesterday. Being proactive, this morning we did deploy our CBRN truck, CBRNE, that stands for Chemical, Biological, Radiation, Nuclear, and Explosive. It's an EMS command vehicle that does sophisticated environmental monitoring, including the air for things like smoke, to predetermine any hazards that may be there for the community. So we deployed that at 8 o'clock this morning, and the air quality in the Mililani and Mililani Mauka area was good at the time we sent the truck up, and we can provide pictures and some more information on the equipment from Shane. But we felt that this area was safe this morning based on those measurements, and we are prepared to do that again if needed. We have learned from not only the fire on Maui, but other fires on the mainland, and we're trying to just be more proactive and from the EMS side on the medical standpoint to support both the fire department and all the other agencies that are involved in this particular event that the Captain Song discussed. That's all I have, unless you have any questions.
Is from your standpoint, what is the biggest threat or biggest concern right now?
I'm just very reassured from what the fire department has reported and the location and the distance from any populated center. But I think, we just need to remain vigilant and ready to deploy if asked. But right now, it's from our standpoint, it's more of just a standing by and coming and responding if we're needed. We've had a EMS district chief in the area throughout the morning, as well as monitoring, as well as meeting with various entities in the region to discuss plans and just what ifs. But really, right now, from our standpoint, we're just kind of in a standby mode.
And then you mentioned for people who have underlying respiratory things going on, is there anything you recommend for them to do?
In general, people who have respiratory conditions should, get regular medical checkups and meet with their doctor on a regular basis so they can assure themselves of having enough medications on hand, including rescue inhalers if those are prescribed, things like albuterol. They should stay indoors and avoid the smoke. And I know in the past when we've had incidents where we have a lot of fireworks, like on New Year's, people actually sometimes relocate to other places that are less smoky. Now at this time, that's not being recommended. There's no evacuation orders in place. But generally, people should stay indoors and make sure they have enough medications. If they do find themselves getting short of breath or struggling to breathe, call 911 as always, and we will respond. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Are there any other questions? Okay, thanks for coming out.
All right, you just heard the very latest on the Mililani Mauka brush fire that is now burning for a second straight day. An update from HFD as well as Dr. Jim Ireland, head of Honolulu Emergency Services. Here's kind of just a recap of what we heard. So the fire is a mile away from the Mililani Mauka area, inaccessible in a remote spot, but the conditions are favorable. The only thing is that this has been a challenge because this is inaccessible from the ground. So you have both HFD and Army firefighters doing water drops. You have 5 assets in the air, no evacuation orders, no structures threatened at this time, and it is described as a slow-moving fire moving away from any nearby homes. Dr. Ireland said that they received 2 calls yesterday for smoke inhalation. The what he calls the CBRNE truck has been deployed. This is a very specialized vehicle here. This is for environmental monitoring. They're checking the air quality in the area. The quality is good as of now, and we also want to mention that DLNR is responding to this as well, helping in any way possible keep this contained. As you see right there, HFD says that this fire has burned about 300 acres, 40% contained, but again, no evacuation orders, not a threat to any nearby properties at this time. That is the very latest. Stay with us on air and online for any new updates. Now to the rest of the day's top stories. New at noon, the 2 brothers charged in connection with a deadly shooting in Kaka'ako appeared in court Tuesday. 26-year-old Fanaika Mateaki on the left is charged with first-degree attempted murder and second-degree murder for the killing of Ikaika Stone. The incident happened Friday night near the Children's Discovery Center. His 19-year-old brother, Paea Mateaki, standing to his right, is charged with attempted murder and firearms offenses. He allegedly attempted to shoot one of Stone's friends, but the weapon failed. The court proceedings were postponed due to the need for Tongan interpreters. Fanaika's bail is at $1 million. Paea's stands at $750,000. A federal jury has convicted a Hawaii couple of conspiracy, passport fraud, and identity theft for stealing identities and living for decades under the names of dead babies. Jurors deliberated for about 2 hours Monday before reaching guilty verdicts against Bobby Ford and Julie Montague. The couple argued in court that their actions did not harm anyone. Attorneys said the real Bobby Ford has been dead for more than 50 years. A witness added that the real Julie Montague died in 1968 as an infant due to birth defects. Their case had gained national attention after pictures were released of the couple wearing jackets that appeared to be authentic KGB uniforms. Lawyers for the couple said they wore the same jacket once for fun. The couple faces up to 15 years in prison and mandatory 2-year consecutive terms for aggravated identity theft. They are set to be sentenced in March. A couple of tragic updates from some recent crashes on Oahu. An 80-year-old woman is now dead after she was struck by a garbage truck in Nu'uanu. This happened Friday morning near Kuakini Medical Center. HPD says a truck driver found the woman lying in front of his truck after he dropped off a garbage container on the side of the road. She had been in critical condition at the hospital but died from her injuries. Police continue to investigate. And a woman involved in a moped crash in Nanakuli has died. Last Tuesday night, a 58-year-old woman was leaving Electric Beach on her moped and attempted to cut across all lanes on Farrington Highway when a car hit her. Police say she was not wearing a helmet. She was critically injured and later died at the hospital. There have now been 47 traffic deaths on Oahu this year. Now to the latest from Maui, where the list of those still unaccounted for after the Lahaina wildfire is now down to 4. They are Elmer Lee Stevens, Lydia Coloma, Robert Owens, and Paul Kaspritsky. The county says it believes 99 people died. All but 1 have been identified by MPD. Also on Maui, police released body camera footage of the August firestorm showing the emergency response. We want to warn you, the footage is graphic and may be traumatizing. Eddie Dowd has the story.
August 8th, 6:40 in the morning, an officer kicks in the door to this house. to evacuate an elderly man as the fires creep closer.
Gas tank there too, you know.
Yeah, well, that's why we're trying to get out of here. Come on.
10 minutes later, an officer in his cruiser warns residents on his loudspeaker.
Brush fire, everybody evacuate immediately.
Maui County says the fire was contained by 10 that morning. Then that afternoon, more trouble.
Hey, there's a propane tank.
At 3:06, an officer uses a garden hose to fight the blaze as winds whip.
Fire starting up again. This house is going to catch on fire pretty soon. They have propane tanks, so I would get out now.
Okay.
Yep, grab everybody.
3:27 p.m., another officer on his loudspeaker.
Everybody's got to evacuate. Evacuate now.
3:56, traffic is backing up and officers try to get drivers moving.
At this point, they're able to direct traffic into the Lahaina Gateway parking lot as well as onto highway to try and get vehicles, basically to end that chain reaction of vehicles stuck up in Lahaina Luna in that Kilauea Mauka neighborhood.
4:10, MPD cruisers blocked southbound traffic into Front Street as thick black smoke billows over historic Lahaina town.
Multiple power lines are down.
4:30, an officer works to cut a gate to access a dirt road. Down the road, an officer at another gate uses his cruiser to rip it open. Then he tells a man with a hose to give it up.
You gotta go!
At 5:24, more warnings from loudspeakers.
Head north on the highway. Everyone evacuate. Head north on the highway.
6:42, amid thick smoke, officers evacuate people who are sheltering inside a business off Front Street.
Come on. Everybody out. Let's go.
Maui's chief of police says 11 MPD officers and staff members lost their homes in the fire, and some lost family members. The chief hopes these body cam videos show their dedication.
Get in, Uncle.
From the very beginning on the 8th, you saw officers saving lives. You saw officers going into houses and getting people out of harm's way. You saw evacuations being done. This body-worn camera footage makes it very clear and convincing that the Maui Police Department, the men and women of MPD, went above and beyond.
And we'll have more in the days ahead on the 20 hours of video that's in the process of being released tonight. MPD also says some video may not be released because they are part of the investigation. Eddie Dowd, Hawaii News Now.
Thank you very much, Eddie. Let's give you a live look at Honolulu right now on this Halloween Tuesday. Looking clear right now. How is the forecast going to be for trick-or-treating tonight? We'll have the answer after this short 2-minute break.
light winds. You can see the winds are very soft out there, dead calm for a handful of spots. And those light winds will persist, we're thinking, all the way through Friday. Then early Saturday, the trade winds come back, and they'll be coming back pretty strong and breezy over the weekend. Look at that, especially for Kauai. It's going to be rather windy all the way through Monday. And the weather's going to change as that trade wind breeze starts to come in. No changes expected through Friday. So for Halloween, it's going to be sunny this morning, cloudy in the afternoon, and with a few spotty showers. That's the trend. And then clearing in the overnight hours. That's going to be the pattern through Friday. And then on Saturday, with those trade winds coming back, humidity levels will start to lower, and we'll see that front drop in with more showers Sunday into Monday, maybe even into Tuesday.
And on this Halloween, slow down and be mindful on the roads today with more Keiki out and about. Casey Lunn has some tips on how to celebrate responsibly.
Aloha from Waikiki, one of the busiest places to celebrate Halloween, and it comes with some risks, of course. People are going to be out drinking. A reminder to make a plan ahead of time. We're with Walkwise Hawaii. Walkwise Hawaii, Lance Ray is with us, talking a little bit about what you want folks to think about as they're either going out to trick-or-treat, coming down here, and drivers as well.
Well, it's a great opportunity for parents to teach the kids about pedestrian safety, and let's sort of intertwine trick-or-treating with pedestrian safety. Kids are going to be going out for the first time, maybe with limited parental supervision, so get a little activity book, pull out a piece of paper, and have them draw a map of their trick-or-treating route. Yeah.
People recognize you from handing out things like our Walkwise Hawaii lights for pedestrians. I'm dressed festively, right? The idea is, though, to wear something that's visible. You're wearing a darker costume, so even more important to have something reflective.
That is correct. Like, I've got these bands here that reflect. I'll be wearing lights tonight. And you'll see me in Waikiki, actually, watching out for pedestrians and putting lights on them and bands on them so they're visible to drivers. Because a lot of drivers driving through Waikiki, even though it's well lit, you have pukas of darkness throughout the buildings, and sometimes a pedestrian can be crossing the street. You can't really see them in a dark costume like what I'm wearing right now.
And there is some fun stuff happening here in Waikiki, and even some of the local businesses that are really making an effort to help encourage people to make that plan, have a designated driver.
Yeah, the Walkwise team, we really know that there's going to be parties at the Hyatt Hotel, and various bars going to be having lots of parties over here. So really kind of going to pay attention to the drivers in the area too, and clearly we know HPD is going to be out with their sort of blockades, so please tell everyone, don't drink and drive. Like, seriously, let's make this the Halloween where nobody drinks and drives, right? Wouldn't that be nice?
Very good. Lance Ray with us from Walkwise Hawaii. Some good tips, and a reminder that HPD will be out enforcing, of course, DUIs, making sure people aren't driving impaired and keeping an eye on our pedestrians. A reminder to slow down and, again, make a plan if you plan to celebrate this Halloween. For now, we'll send things back to you.
Thank you very much, Casey. Well, as you can tell, we are getting into the Halloween spirit right here on This Is Now. The sorting hat, I guess, has put me in Gryffindor, although some would say I belong in Slytherin. There's a lot of festivities going on. Let's go to a raging Halloween party right now with Dylan Ancheta on Kauai.
Well, happy Halloween from Kapa'a, Kauai. I'm here at my family's home along Kulama'u Street for our annual holiday Halloween tradition. Take a look at this. We decorate our garage and transform this into a haunted attraction for the neighborhood kids. We got Grandma there in the corner. We got our little makeshift graveyard over here with a spooky little mannequin. And on this side, we just got our masks on display. We got the haunted tree. We're a little bit twisted during Halloween, but it is our family's favorite time of year, and we've been doing this for many years, in fact over 20 years. And I want to talk to the woman who kind of helps put it all together every year, my grandma, Linda Ancheta. Grandma, what is it about Halloween that you just enjoy?
Because it makes the kids happy.
I know we also have a reputation for making kids scream and cry.
Right.
How long have you been doing this, and what keeps you going every year?
Well, first it was my son when he was in high school, and then now my grandson for 27 years, going on 30.
Well, we're having so much fun here. Grandma, thanks for all you do. I got to give you a hand. As a clown, I always got a little trick up my sleeve. So if you're in Kapa'a, Kauai, come on down along Kulama'u Street, right down the road from the old Otsuka's warehouse. For Hawaii News Now, I'm Dylan Ancheta. Happy Halloween.
Oh, thank you very much, Dylan. That looks like a fun time, doesn't it? Well, happy Halloween, everyone. Let's bring in Davis Kanoa Pittner.
Oh, we're here.
Our producer here on This Is Now. So we got a lot to get to.
Yep.
Of course, everyone looks forward to the This Is Now Halloween costume contest each and every year. We showed you the pictures earlier in the week as well as last week. Let's get to the finalists. The moment you've all been waiting for. The votes are in. Time to announce the winners of this year's This Is Now.
I'm excited, Mark.
Halloween costume contest.
Look at that.
And we had a strong, very strong field
I am
this
so
year.
happy about the King's Hawaiian. He is my favorite.
Well, let's not get to the,
Hey,
to the
I'm
results.
sorry.
just yet.
No,
This is an Oscar night. We're reading the results ahead of time. Okay, well, our top 3 winners were selected by you, our viewers. They'll each win a $100 gift card from International Marketplace. And once again, we're scrolling through your top 3 finalists. Let's begin. Third place, Edward Scissorhands.
Wow, look at
Putty,
that.
putty,
Yeah, round of applause. There we go.
Just a wonderful, glorious costume right there.
My gosh.
A lot of great attention to detail. So congratulations to Edward Scissorhands for taking
Well
third
done on that
place.
one.
Right?
That was good.
Exactly.
Yeah, that one was good.
You could tell a lot of love went into that costume right there. So now second place will go to
There we go.
the Stanley Cup. Everyone.
Now that's creative. That's creative right there. I just like the color, you know.
Davis,
Just
seemingly everyone has a Stanley Cup this year, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they're definitely in the mood. I wonder if that was her idea or the parents.
Yeah.
Like, what?
But regardless, very well done. I have follow-up questions on the materials and the craftsmanship.
I was going to say, is that comfortable in there?
The parents must be engineers because it is done extremely well. So very nice. Second place goes to the Stanley Cup. That means your overall winner for this year's This Is Now Halloween costume contest right here. I mean, how can you deny
you can't say no to that.
this bundle of joy right here?
Yeah, absolutely.
A pack of King's Hawaiian sweetbread rolls. So sweet right there. And congratulations. This baby is this year's This Is Now Halloween costume contest winner. Very well done.
Very well done. Congratulations. I hope they save that outfit because that is a winner for years to come.
Right? You can keep entering.
Just keep answering. Yeah, we'll just keep picking.
Different contests around town. Well, congratulations to all the winners. Mahalo to everyone who participated. It's a lot of good fun right here. So that wraps up our This Is Now Halloween costume contest. You can see the photos online. Before we go, we want to mention this. After This Is Now, we have H&N's Spotlight Now, Student Edition. We've handed the microphones over to the next generation so they can explore the topics that are important to them. Very insightful discussion right there. Once again, H&N's Spotlight Now, 1 p.m. on K5 and across of all of H&N's digital platforms.